Today's episode is for anyone who's ever felt like life is just happening to them instead of being intentionally created by them. I'm sitting down today with Prentice Sprewell II, the mind behind Built by Design, Not Default, a movement and platform dedicated to helping busy parents stop living on autopilot and start actually building a life, a family, and a future with purpose. Through his work, Prentice challenges the idea that success, parenting, and fulfillment shouldn't be left up to chance. Instead, he teaches with the right systems, the mindset, and intentional actions. And you can design a life that actually aligns with your values, even in the middle of a busy, chaotic schedule. If you're a high performer, a parent, or somebody who refuses to settle for just getting by, this conversation is going to hit home for you. Prentice, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
I appreciate that heavily. I appreciate you and your time.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what I've been told before? People are like, can I just hire you to, like, every time I meet somebody, you do an intro for me, and then before I enter the room, I'm like, sure.
You should definitely monetize that because absolutely, I would absolutely hire you to do that.
Yeah,
Every time.
I had somebody like 2 podcasts ago, and he's like, there's actually a platform that monetizes on like making jingles. And we probably talked about that for 5-10 minutes. And it's crazy how like certain voices like trigger different things, like your kids. Like they probably don't get triggered by more of a grown man's voice, but they probably get triggered more by cartoon, goofy, squirrely, kidsy sounds, right?
Oh, absolutely. They will interact as soon as they hear any type of show that is theirs. If it
Yeah,
is their type of show, it's Gabby Dollhouse, it's Rachel, they're like on
that
go.
is
Anybody else, they'll respond.
That's
But
funny. What do you feel like is your favorite part about being a parent? I know that there's probably like tens, thousands of things that you can say, but like, give me like the top 2.
there honestly is thousands. I could go on for days about this topic. However, I think my favorite thing has to be that I learned how to have such a rebound rate of emotions. That is the top thing that I learned from them because they'll cry and then all of a sudden they're laughing and smiling within 5 seconds. They have a rebound rate of 2.5 seconds at
That's
times. So
funny. Yeah, their honesty. That, I remember I sold cars for 10 years. And I remember I always knew the ones that I was always going to make a sale with, because when the kids were there, the honesty always came out. So like when the parents would tell me, "Oh, no, it's fine. It's okay." They're like, "But what do you mean, Mommy? You said you wanted more of this style than this, but now you're telling her this." And I'm like, "Oh, you just got called out." Isn't that
yep,
funny?
absolutely they will. And my little ones, that's what I live by. I always tell them to say what you mean and mean what you say.
Mm.
So nowadays they're just that's exactly what they'll give you. Big
Yeah. Did you
individuals, us as parents forget that we're raising adults. We're not raising
Yeah.
kids, we're raising adults. So
Yeah.
I
Did
think
you
it's very
always know in
important.
your heart that you wanted to be a parent, like you wanted to have kids, you wanted to
Oh,
duplicate yourself? It's
absolutely.
crazy. I did an interview with a guy one time that he does the local news out here, and he's like probably in his 50s or late 50s, 60s. Great guy, amazing guy, very successful, good-looking guy, great heart, faith-based. And he said his biggest regret in life is not having kids. And he's like, I wish I could tell every young man to have kids. So what do you say to that?
1,000%, a million percent. I will stand behind that time and time again. I think I'm blessed in the fact that I knew young, and I know where it stems from. It stems from my circumstances and everything like that with my parents. But I knew young that I just wanted to be the best husband that a man could possibly be and the best father that a man could possibly be. And I knew that around the age of 7, 8. So I knew that I was going to have a family. So I think that is absolutely major.
Cool. That's cool. Okay, so what now you're into health and into fitness, and that's your top priority. That's what you focus on, and helping people with that. So what made you get into that space? I talk to people all the time that, I talked to a doctor the other day, and I'm like, why chiropractic work? Right? Or I come
Mhm.
across different people and I'm like, what was that thing that made you decide to do that? So like, I feel like people have links in their life, and like aha moments where it's like, I know that that is my destiny. So what was that for you? Like, I remember, I tell this story kind of frequently. I remember my first job, I was a receptionist and I worked at this front desk, and I just got paid hourly. But you know what I was really good at, Prentice? I
What was
was
that?
so freaking good at selling the gift certificates there. I was the best at it. And I didn't get paid commission or I didn't get paid sales for the gift certificates, but I was just thinking to myself, like, oh, Valentine's Day is coming up and we're in the beginning of January. Like, if you get the gift certificate now, it's 10% off. You know she's gonna get a massage anyways. Might as well do it now. Right. And I started doing it, and I would find
Wow.
reasons. And everybody is like, how is Selena selling so many gift cards? And I'm like, I don't know, but I never made like money off of it. I just did it just because. And then it slowly started evolving, and people are like, you're really good at this. Why don't you sell cell phones? And then I got good at selling cell phones. And then somebody's like, why don't you sell cars? And then I sold cars. And I started realizing, like, oh, I have like a really good ability to like sell, like it's in my body.
Mm.
So how did you know, what were those like people or links or stories that led you into fitness? Or did you know people, or some, maybe you had a mentor that went up to you and brought you into the gym one day and took you underneath his wing, and you're like, wow, this is really cool, like I want to get involved in this? What were those links for you, or those people?
It- It's funny because you say uh, a mentor, you possibly had a mentor that led you to this. It's not. It's so far left of that. So far left. I I was an athlete my entire life. Um, when I was 7, I had a major accident though. All I wanted to do was play basketball. My cousin was in the NBA. My dad was supposed to go straight to the league out of high school, but then he had me. So I always felt like I needed to get to the NBA, or I needed to get to the league to fulfill that. And then I had an accident when I was 7 years old, and they said that I would never be able to play sports again. So I didn't get cleared until about 12, I believe it was, age 12. And my first sport that I picked up was not a basketball, it was baseball. And my baseball coach just happened to be a football coach as well. And that's where I got my nickname Crazy Legs from. Showed up late. Mom was running late after getting off of work late. And so I was the last one at practice. Got to practice. Mind you, this is my first season, so I'm very apologetic. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. It's not my fault. I'm late because my mother got off work late. I got here as soon as I possibly could, and he's like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You just calm down. You're good. Mind you, my teammates are all doing their warm up and whatnot. He's like, just start running poles with them. So I just take off. I pass them and then get back to him first, and he was like, "Well, we're gonna run poles one more time." And everyone's like, "What? We just did our whole warm up." It's like, "No, we're just gonna do poles one more time." Do it, take off, get back to him first, and he's like, crazy legs, come here." And we're all like, uh, turning around. Who is he talking to? He's like, "Sprewell, come over here." I'm thinking I'm in trouble. I'm like, I just told him I'm sorry for being late to practice. And it's like, you know how fast you are? It's like, no. It's like, you ever play football before? No, sir. It's like, do you want to play football? I'm like, I don't know. I guess, And I was like, I have to ask my mom. Obviously, that baseball was my first sport back in after I got cleared after years and years, not thinking that I was going to play sports again. So thinking about the position that I put my mother in at that time, had to raise the level of anxiety and worry, fear in her so much when I came up so excited and like, Coach wants me to play football. And she's like, football? Like, they get hit all the time. That's all that they do.
My
And
fiance played hockey his whole life,
yes,
and
brutal.
oh, his body's
My
messed
hat is
up.
off to him.
Yeah,
My
it's like
hat
his
is
his he
off.
has scars right here because his teeth would go through his lip. I mean, so I imagine that, and I also imagine football players like, you're getting a 400-pound body lunged at you. Like,
Oh
there's
yeah,
no stopping that.
absolutely.
So I can
And I'm
only
not the
imagine what
biggest
you went through.
guy. I'm not the biggest guy at all, but it was really, now that I'm adult and I have kids, I look back at it and I'm like, wow, my mother must have been freaking out because I wasn't supposed to even play sports, but as soon as the doctor cleared me, I was like, sports it is, you know? So that's kind of a major jump, from baseball to football because it's like this is non-contact, so she didn't have to really worry about that. To this is major contact, so she's like, are you sure, puppy? Are you sure this is what you want to do?" Are And I think she was asking me repeatedly to really get it in her head that this was actually what I was going to do. Touch the football. After that, all every other sport was on a back burner. It was a natural in all sports. God has blessed me athletically, very much so. So that is how my journey started. But when we talk about the health and fitness aspect of it, I played all the sports and I was just always super fast, super quick, very agile. So had although I had a chip on my shoulder because I started really late compared to all my other peers, I was very blessed and naturally. So I wasn't, but I'm not the biggest. I'm still not the biggest. May not be the strongest, may not be the fastest, but at the time, I was the fastest on in every sport. So it made me progress rapidly. So when it comes to strength training, the fitness side of all of this, I was like, what are weights? I don't want to do that. Even into high school, all I did was push-ups, pull-ups, and a little bar, easy bar that my dad had in the house. That would be it. But the first time in high school that we had to max out for football, I ended up being one of the strongest, but I didn't know what I was doing. Everybody's like, all my friends are like, this is not fair. What are you doing on the side? You're not in the weight room at all. So how are you one of the strongest individuals in here? I don't know. All I do is push-ups, pull-ups, and a little bar thing at the time, right? So it, I had that chip and found a love for football, and that's what took me on to college. I ran track and field in college, and I played football in college, D1 and D2 level. So through that, I always knew, okay, I'm gonna get to the league. That was what I thought. All right, I'm gonna get to the league. I'm gonna get to the league. That's what I was there for. You ask younger me what I want to be when I grow up, I would always say a doctor. I always wanted to help everyone. If you were in pain or if I could help you in any way, I wanted to do it. And then my father later on told me how long school was to be a doctor, and I was like, okay, maybe not. Because as I grew to a high schooler going into college, I'm like, I just want to get to the league. That's it. So I don't want to be in school so long that I'm potentially going to miss out on getting to the league or even not finish school. So that's where the health and fitness came in for me. I was always the first one in the gym, always the last one out, even in between, being a dual major in college and honor societies, dean's list, but I would get stopped. And the number one comment I would get is, hey, I want to look like you. So the number one question was, what are you doing? You look different than everybody else. I want to look like that. And so as I'm in school, yes, I'm in school for science, but in my head, again, I'm not going to stay in here longer than sophomore year, maybe junior year before I get to the league. Blew out my knee, MCL, meniscus. So I knew I had to start focusing on what was after college. Although, yes, I was still playing, wasn't playing as much, nor was I on the field as much anymore because of such. All right. So that comment always drove me. That's when I started making plans for people, programs. I'm still in school. I don't have my degrees yet. I don't know everything that I know now.
So at the time, were you just like texting them because you
No,
didn't,
I would
you were
write
going
it
to school?
down. Like I would write it all down on a or type it up for individuals and I would just give it to them paper. All right. And so we didn't, it wasn't like texting or anything like that. as it would be now. We didn't have programs and built out like I do now or we do now. So it was paper and pencil or pen that I would give to people, and they'd come back like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, like, man, I see a difference already. 3 months later, I want another program. And so I'm in school to get these degrees, and I'm like, I don't have my degrees yet, but I'm client after client after client after colleague after
So
peer
were
coming
people
back.
paying you at this time? Or no, you were
Yeah,
just doing it just, or you started
I
charging because the demand was higher?
yes, yes, I start. Obviously, we're in college. I mean, I need to make a buck somehow. You know what I mean?
That's the
So,
most creative thing you could do as a
excuse me.
student too. Like take your skill, take whatever you're good at, and if you can help to get people results, start charging for it. I'm sure at the beginning you did a few for free, and then you're like,
Oh
wait a
yeah,
minute, more people are coming. Like, no, you're gonna pay for this.
yeah. I had one guy come up to me, and I still remember him to this day. He was my first client, if that's what you want to call colleague in college, right? He was my first client. Uh, he came back for a second one, and I still have the photo. I charged him 25, either 25 bucks or 50 bucks for his second program. And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Whatever, paid me." Boom, right there on the spot. No ifs and buts about it. And I was like, "Wait a minute. Wait. This is okay, I can do this." So it wasn't as much as a mentor as I think it was God. And I say God because he took what I thought I was going to do and made it into an entire mission of me being a shepherd. And he was like, this, you wanted to help people always, but you wanted to help people this way. You thought you were going to go be a doctor at first, and then you thought you were going to be in the league. But this is the reason why I brought you here, to understand this, to be seen by these individuals, to start your path to being a vessel to helping individuals, any individual that you can. So that's how the health and fitness entire career profession for me started. It started just like that, and I wholeheartedly am going to say God placed it in my lap.
At I love that because I think that everybody is born with a God-given talent, but sometimes we don't see it right away. And it takes us longer
Very.
or we have to like mature through it to be able to see it, and it's neat when you get to see it earlier than later. So at what point did you finish college or did you end up dropping out?
No, I finished college, so I had 2 degrees. I got my degrees early, as I was in like AP classes in high school, and then some college courses. So I graduated earlier. I finished school earlier than expected, especially being a dual major. So everyone's like, "How are you?" You know,
What did you end
uh,
up majoring in?
fitness and conditioning, so through kinesiology and psychology.
Got it. Yeah, that is not easy to do. Working and also going to school, like the combination of them, of the two. So, okay, so once you graduated, then did you go all in on just coaching and training people?
Yes, absolutely. So I at the time I was very hard-headed. Even after my injury, I was like, no, I'm still gonna get to the league. I'm still gonna get to the league. I went to 3 different colleges. So like my journey is just a journey. That's exactly what it is. So it after being so hard-headed and finally being like, all right, it's time to hang up the cleats, I went full throttle. What is next? You're already making some nice change and paying for your apartment by the clients that you have all throughout your college career. So why not continue that? But I'm not for big box corporations or anything like that. So I knew I didn't want to work for those chains. And I thought I was gonna open up my own gym, which my dissertation in college happened to be on basically the entire OTF, Orange Theory Fitness, like their style, their science based, method. 2 years prior to me getting out of college, Orange Theory Fitness became a thing. And so when I got out, that is, I they talked to me about being a coach there. And I remember just being like, what is going on? I was gonna open this gym. I didn't know what I was gonna call it, but I was gonna open this gym exactly on this method. And so that's how I started my coaching career. I started working for them. My classes became full, became packed, became waitlisted week after week after week, and got offered like head coach positions. Oh, do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a regional coach? I didn't want all that responsibility at the time because I was making good money and I was still being able to be free and have some freedom to do whatever I want still as a young man, young 20, 20, 21, 22-year old. But after that, I was just like, at anywhere I went, everyone else, all my clientele was like, if you leave here, you better tell me. I'm
They're gonna
going with
follow
you.
you. They follow you, not the brand. You are the brand. So they were more loyal to
Exactly.
you than anything else.
Exactly. So
Why do you think that is?
when
Why do you think that? Because I've had people like that too. Why do you think that is? How have you been able to build raving fans that are so loyal to you versus, you know, a brand or a company?
you be you, you be it's simple and it's very cliche, but you be authentically you. When I was in classes, I wouldn't be just a coach. I'm making sure that your form is good. We have something that was called a 3C. So it was basically a 3-second scan of each member or each client in your class. And so I would just get so good at that. And I think my time management was very well. And I was very confident as a coach when it came to form, reps, what you should do, and controlling a room that I no longer had to think about that. And I could just be me. So I love to dance. Music's playing, my body's moving, and I don't even know it.
What kind of music
So
do you listen to?
I listen to it all. I listen to Sinatra. I listen to music from the 70s. I listen to not the only music I do not listen to is like screamo. I listen to some rock, some country. It just depends on what mood I'm in. I love R&B. I'm a very major 90s R&B guy. Obviously, I was born in the 90s, grew up on all that. Even of the 80s. Um, it just now I don't know if it's because I've gotten a little bit more mature or what, but the Christian music, like, and it doesn't have to be, the quote unquote, like, you're in church music. No, it's
Yeah, I just
Christian rap,
discovered.
it's Christian
Listen, we
R&B.
all day we listen to Rave Jesus, and it is literally the best because it's upbeat. The beats per minute are really, really
Yeah,
good, and they're talking about God. I'm like,
exactly.
this is great. Can we make more of this?
Absolutely. And the same type of music, and it could be with the same beats. Literally. It could be the same exact beats of your R&B music or your rap music or whatever type of music you like. You could find it as gospel or godly music, Christian music. You can find it. And so that's really what I've been listening to. Honestly, this morning I tried to listen to Lil Baby, right? Because all the clips, the working out clips on IG that I'm seeing, I guess he dropped a new album. Cool. I tried listening to it and I was like, I just can't listen to it anymore like I used to. And I just turned back on my my Christian music. Like
Yeah, I
I
know what
found
you
like
mean.
two
I
songs and I was like,
I feel that way. Like there is a time in music where it was still like good And then it got really, really bad. Like even, gosh, we were watching, my fiance and I are getting married in a couple of months. And so we've been watching all the bridal
Congratulations.
movies. Thank you. All the bridal movies are like, with like Jennifer Lopez, that era is like the movies that they had the 90s and the early 2000s were really good. And a lot of like the romance movies, I feel like now is so different than the 2000s because back then they wouldn't show people having sex, but it would be assumed because they would
Mhm.
have you ever seen the movie Shallow Hal with Jack Black and Tony Robbins is in it? You ever seen that
I
movie?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
I
it's so good. So what it is like essentially Tony Robbins puts a spell on Jack Black and makes him only see the good in women. But the
okay,
women that he
yeah.
sees are like 500 pounds, but he doesn't see them as 500 pounds. He only sees the good in them. And so one of the nights when he falls asleep, he goes to bed with a girl, but she looks skinny in his eyes, but she takes her underwear off and throws it at him, and it's like a big old parachute. And he's like, "This is a joke. This is so silly. Like, what is this?" And she just laughs, and then they fall asleep, and then they wake up the next morning, and then that's it, insinuating that they slept together, right? But they didn't
Mhm.
show them having sex. But nowadays in today's movies, I feel like they have to put that part in there. It's like you don't have to put them having sex in the movie. Like viewers can still get the point across without actually needing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like the synopsis of the movie and like what it means to see the beauty in people is doesn't need to have, that heavy of intimacy. And I'm like, why can't we go back to those movies in the 2000s where it's more
Yeah.
pure, like
I
same with music.
feel that exact way. I think they push out. So I don't want to say it's like I don't want to call it negativity, right? Because obviously sex and being intimate with your individual is very important. Yes, absolutely. But the notion that comes behind the certain movements, like I feel like they push that out so much, so heavily nowadays. And it's I don't like it. It's it's work of not who I serve. So, and I realize that even in the music, they push out a lot of
They're
nonsense in the
as
music,
of
and
like as of 2 years ago, I can't watch scary movies either. As a
yeah,
kid,
no,
I could watch scary
it
movies
wasn't.
all
It's
the
not the
time.
same.
No.
It is not the
And
same.
and then I started realizing because I work so hard to like protect this and what goes in this that I started watching like there's this TV show it's called Black Mirror. Have you ever heard of it? It's
Black
a
Mirror,
it's
yes,
a
I have.
yeah, so it talks about like the futuristic things of where like technology and AI and like, robots taking over the world, predictions, mass world control, but it's like conspiracy theories, but they made a TV
Mhm.
show on it. And I remember we watched a couple of episodes and we could not sleep that next night. And we were having like crazy dreams and we're like,
I'm getting
whoa,
goosebumps.
like we cannot do this. And so we let that be. And then 6 months went by and then we watched another one and it happened again. And we're like, okay, no more. Like we cannot do this. And we're like, we need to go back to Discovery Channel and just watching animals for like National Geographic. You know what I'm saying? But I had realized that like when you work so hard to protect this and then you have something that disturbs it, it's like your subconscious is so true and it's so real. And I'm like, man, you do really have to watch out for the things that you put into your brain. And so even scary movies, I can't watch them anymore either because they're so
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think about I think about people that are really successful, like Jim Carrey, people like um Will Ferrell, people that make comedy movies, Kevin Hart, people that make funny
Hmm.
movies, how much more successful that their careers are and how much more impact that they make in the world. And they all graduated from universities for their master's degrees and they actually make a difference in the world. Look at those people versus like the directors that make scary movies. Like you don't hear about any of those people doing good for the world or like giving back to the community, giving back to the world. Right? Isn't that crazy?
You're preaching to the choir right now. You are
Yeah.
preaching to the choir right now.
It's like the world has changed so much more of realness, what's right for you, doing the right thing. And
Yes.
then that comes down, but that comes down to people like you, people like your wife, people like me that are, really actually talking about the truth and the things that really do matter and like health. Like Hello, like that's why all those people come up to you and they're like, "Can I have your program?" Because when they walk into into the university and they look around, everybody, they all look the same. They're all out of shape.
Hmm.
They're all average looking. So to see somebody that actually takes care of their health, it's like, "Whoa, you're the most interesting person in the room. I need to know what that guy has because everybody looks the same."
Exactly. That's so imperative. That's so major. That's such a major statement that just came out of your mouth. Like, and I appreciate it so very heavily. There's, how are you going to survive nowadays, especially with AI and all of these new technology things coming about that are so accessible to everyone? And if you are in the same industry and you have the same niche as everyone, you're going to sound the same. So the only thing that you have that is going to separate you is your authenticity.
That's so true. It's well, it's good because the more authentic that you are and you're finding what's most important to you, like it's crazy. And I'm sure you've experienced this in business where like when you first start off, you're willing to take anybody that wants to work with you because you need the
Hmm.
money and you need to survive and take care of your kids and your wife. And so there was a point in time in my business where I said yes to everybody. And the problem with that is like people cared more about like association than actually getting the results. And I'm like, and I would see the way that they really were behind the scenes. And it's like, that's not right. Like you're developing and you want to be a good person, but and you're paying for coaching and then you're going to go off and drink on the weekends. Like that doesn't fit the core values, the standard. And I don't care. I've had people I've canceled and they're like, "No, no, no, I'll pay double, just keep me on." I'm like, "Nope, not worth it." Because when you go out into the world and people are asking about you and then my name comes out of your mouth, but you're out in the club and you're drinking and you do all these things and hanging out with men and women and do the stuff that you shouldn't be
That
doing,
comes
like
back on you.
the money is not worth the association. And I don't want that. Like my work, just like how your work is through people, like the Holy Spirit is in you, you pass it on to people and then they don't take it seriously and they go damage that. It's like you're not living by it. It's not worth it to coach somebody when you're not going to stick to the standard, you know?
Absolutely. And the standard for anybody that I coach is extremely high because I have so many titles when it comes to this health and fitness industry, like fitness and conditioning certified coach, right? And then I have exercise and movement specialist. So you're not just getting somebody that's just a trainer that doesn't have the schooling or that doesn't have the experience, or that just has a certification. There's much more that you're getting from me. And so for myself, I have to be at a certain standard of excellence at all times. So I'm expecting my clients to be at that certain standard of excellence because that's all I'm going to have around you, and that's how I'm going to coach you because that's what I'm expecting from you. Am I expecting perfection? Does that mean that comes with it? No, because I'm not perfection. I'm far from perfection. So if you're one of my athletes, you're one of my clients, I'm Miss Sir, we don't have to be perfect here, but we will move with excellence all the time, and that is abiding by the rule of being 1% better, at least 1% better every day.
What's one of your like big goals? Have you ever wanted to be a trainer for a college or like a bigger organization, not as you run your own business, I guess more private contract style, but what's a big huge dream of yours? Like what, because I could see you working with all of the universities around you with all the athletes, especially with how competitive that you are, but what does that look like for you?
I used to want to do that up until my authenticity being watered down. Like it became an issue. Even in OTF, even with Orange Theory Fitness, even though my classes were full waitlisted, other coaches would be like, "Oh, but he's dancing in class. Is he really paying attention?" And then the little murmurs would start behind my back, and then it would go up to the higher chain, of the franchises and be like, well, the coaches are uncomfortable. Sir, it's none of my business if the other coaches are uncomfortable. My classes are packed out, waitlisted, and they're like that for a reason. I'm the person that is making sure that they have fun and they enjoy themselves as soon as they enter my classroom. As soon as they enter the gym, they know they're not only going to elevate their health, their wellness, their life, but they're also going to enjoy it. I used to say, why do we call working out working out? Why is it called you work out? Because that negative notion behind work, especially to adults, is like, I don't want to do any more work. I was just at work all day. Or I'm here at 4:45 a.m. before I have to go to work. I do not want to work before work. So I used to say, why do we call working out working out? Well, I say that because I make sure that every single individual enjoys themselves as they are working, quote unquote, working out. Right? You're enjoying yourself, you're laughing, you're smiling, you are going through like, coach, I hate you. My one of my mottos is hate me now, love me later, because I know it's
That's
gonna happen.
true. That's true. That's true. So what is the big goal for you?
It honestly, it's gonna sound cliche, but change as many lives, elevate as many lives as I possibly can through what I do. I go back and forth with myself. When it comes to the business aspect of it, it's extremely hard to be quote unquote successful, right? Or profitable rather, when you open up a bigger gym. If you don't do everything right, like really, really right, which is the percentage of that is very small, it's very hard to be profitable with a bigger gym. So I go back and forth with myself of opening up warehouse gyms, smaller gyms, and then maybe franchising them out here and there, possibly. I think that is my grand scheme. It used to be I wanted a academy, etc. Now I don't know if I want all that. I don't know if I want the responsibilities that come with that, and not even just the responsibilities, but the time away from what I actually love doing. Right? Because the more responsibilities I have, the less I'm going to be out in the field. I love this right here. I'm communicating with you. I'm having a lovely conversation with you. I want this to also be a source of elevation while I'm actually still in the trenches and leading by example, not behind a chair, not having people do it for me. All right, this coach, this is that coach, or this is that administrator, etc. Now you're dealing with them, but they may not have the same values and carry the same energy as I would, or they may not carry that to you when you are here because of me. And I don't want that ever to be an issue because I've seen that be an issue. And it's not, oh, I want to be the only one, because I would love to outsource, but it's very hard to outsource
Oh, listen, I know. Yes.
when I'm like, I know who I am. I
Yeah.
know what I bring, I know the energy. So
Yeah.
that's
That
what
comes with
brings in
identity.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's so true. What's new and upcoming for you this year? What are you going to be focusing on as we begin to wrap up here? What is something that's a new adventure for you, or something that you're focusing on short term for this year? What's coming up for you and your family? Georgia Aquarium, I know for sure, even though you just went last weekend.
Yes, absolutely. So I've just had my third daughter, she's 2 months. So we are in the midst of looking for a bigger place. That is what is new for me. And in order for me to do that, business must excel, business must progress, obviously financially. So the focus is really on being in the trenches, the career driven parents who are tired of giving their kids the leftovers of themselves, that are struggling with their perspective of what their kids want instead of focusing on the perspective of their kids of what they actually want. Meaning our kids don't care about our titles. They don't. They care about
Yep.
if we're
Your
going to
time.
play with them.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we're going to be able to come home, play with them, laugh with them, chase them around, build stuff, play bad guys, play hide and seek. Our kids don't care about how much money we bring in. They learn that, and that is wholeheartedly on us as their parents. So that is what is my main focus right now, which will turn into from my short term into my long term. The busy career driven parents who feel like they're giving their kids leftovers.
I love that. I don't even need to meet your wife, and I know exactly how she is because I can see her through you. I can always tell the way that a business, actually, by looking at a business, I can tell exactly who runs it, their habits, their style, their culture type, all just by looking at the business, because it all stems back from like their identity and what's important to them, and you can see that through the people, and the eyes are the window to the soul. And so like I can tell exactly who your wife is. Like I know what's important to her, I know exactly what she values, and I know that there's a really big part of who you've developed into because of her. That's so, so important. And I think for anybody that is, I feel like for anybody that is like single listening to this, like the most important person that you're going to ever spend your time with, it's not even going to be your kids, because they're going to grow up and be 18 and they're going to go leave and go
And
someplace.
they're gonna leave you.
But your spouse is going to be with you forever, and being able to get through those things like that takes patience with Prentice, you know what I'm saying? And so like I think it's really, really cool that I don't need to meet other spouses. I know exactly who they are, because that is the foundation. Because it is so easy for you. And I used to be like this way too. I used to go home and complain all the time. And I would go home and be like, oh, this was hard and this wasn't easy. And oh, my boss yelled at me today. And then before you know it, like my significant other is like, well, you should probably quit that place. They treat you so horribly. But now when I come home, I have a different perspective. And I'm like, babe, you have no idea whose life I changed today. You should have seen this before and after picture. This person, like, we're going to get them going. And you're operating out of enlightenment. And when you do that, then your spouse is just like, guess what you end up doing? Not only do you change your customers' lives, but you come home and you freaking re-inspire your spouse. And they're like,
Exactly.
dang, who is this new man that came home today and walked through the freaking door? You're like, it's me. Catch me outside. How about that? Like you didn't even know.
Catch me outside.
But that is like I've been taking notes our entire podcast. I always like taking notes during the podcast, but I think that that's part of like recreation, daily recommitting, like who you're becoming. And our spouses get with us because we made a commitment that we would always be the best version and be there for them. And be there for
Exactly.
them, a form of love, is becoming better every day. And so I love what you guys got going on. I love like your kids get to live in this, and it's really exciting. That's what I love about the world is the growth. I had a meeting this morning. Actually, I wanted to share this with you, but it's like, how cool is this that we get this opportunity to share life with people? So we talked about in our morning meeting this morning, we talked about Matthew 22:29. It says, if faith is real, it should, or we talked about how that Bible verse, it says, if faith is real, it should make you a better teammate, not a divided one. And we have to learn to lead with love. And like Jesus always talks about how even though we had differences and we thought differently, we still loved out of our heart. And we need to be the light for everybody. And you can't grow cold in your heart. So um, I love what you guys stand for and your standards. And I think that that's really the thing that's going to catapult you guys, is what you believe in and having those true intentions. And dude, you guys have won the game already. Like anything on top of that is just a bonus. Any more babies in your life, that's a bonus. Any more extra muscles you guys put on your body, that's just another freaking bonus, right? But you guys have won the game. And that isn't that cool, that like I can't even believe this life exists. Like I can't even believe we have this opportunity, and we get this chance.
Exactly. Like that it's such a beautiful and refreshing moment to have a conversation with an individual like yourself. like-minded individuals that are being present in the present,
Yeah.
so
Proximity is everything. And I've realized that if we do it alone, that's when the devil attacks, is when you start to single yourself out and you do things alone. An individual can be beat, but a team can't be beat. And Jesus had a team. And so you're
he
so
did.
much better when you have your tribe, your wife, your kids, your team, your
Amen.
accountability, you know? And so like, but I've done it too. Like I've gone down rabbit holes and I'm like, oh, what's happening? I'm moving away. Like I got to get back in the fire. And so I feel like this is Sunday right now. It's not even Thursday, or yeah, it's
Yeah,
Thursday. I don't even know
right.
what day it is. I feel like this is a
You're
sermon
preaching.
right now. Just
Preaching.
call
Let's
me a
go.
pastor. Come on. Anyways,
Come
well,
on now.
as we begin to wrap up here, Prentice, what's the best way that people can reach out to you if they're looking at getting some coaching and mentorship done with you? How can people reach out to you?
People can connect with me through my Instagram and TikTok. That handle is built for busy parents. Try to make it as simple as possible. So it's built for busy parents. You can DM me, hit the follow. I drop content daily. That is the quickest way, or you can email me at yourwhyfitness@yahoo.com. And yes, that is really as in saying, what is your why? So, your why fitness.
Amazing. And I'll
Uh,
make sure and we'll put this in. Or I'm sorry, did you have any more to add to that? Sorry.
yeah, no, I just want to say everyone says that they die for their kids. All parents say, yeah, I would absolutely die for my kids. The question I want to ask you is, will you actually live for them? And in order to do that, one of my mottos is get healthy for your kids. They deserve the best of you, not what's left of you.
I was just going to ask you what's the best piece of advice that you'd like to share, and you beat me to it. I really love that.
There
I'm
it
going to make that
is.
whenever I do these podcasts, I don't make them generic, the title. I like really put a lot of intention behind it. And I think that that's what I'm going to name this, exactly what you said. Cause most people, you're right. Most people would die, but they wouldn't live for it. And, I had an eye awakening moment one time. We went to, this is the last thing I'll say and we'll wrap up, but I remember going on, to this on this roller coaster at Disneyland, and I remember it clear as day. And a lot of their rides, they try to make like a friendly ride, meaning all sizes can fit. They try to, but there happened to be this one instance where this dad and the daughter were getting on the ride, and they couldn't pull the bars over the dad because it was too big. And
Mm,
it was a situation thing. Like, because you know how they have like 4 or 5 different carts that keep going. Like you got to keep moving because we got the wait lines. Like, there. I think that they only stop for like handicap or like people that are immobile for like a wheelchair, or if they're paralyzed. That type of situation. But it was a whole thing where like everybody started to look. You know what I'm saying? Do you know that feeling
yep.
where like it's like one of those things
Yep.
where you want to watch it but you don't want to watch it because you feel so
Yeah.
like uncomfortable for them? Like look at my shoulders right now. I look like I have no neck. And so
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there and I felt it crawling, and I looked at my fiance and I'm like, we can't ever do that. And this guy got off the ride, and the kid, he felt bad for his, the daughter probably had to been like, 12 or 13, and she rode the ride by herself because the dad
Mm.
didn't want her to not go on it, and he walked out through the exit. And I was just like, oh, that is so gut-wrenching that I'm like, I would never not. That is literally the epiphany of not being able to experience a life with your kid. You know what I mean?
Bingo.
And so when
Your
you said that,
kids. Yeah, come on.
when you said that, I thought of this, or when you said this, exactly what you said, I thought about that guy on the roller coaster. I even have chills right now because I'm like, that's the stuff that I fear. That's why we have to take care of our health, because I want to do that ride. Like I want to see their face glow up. I want to see, that experience, that feeling that I had on my first roller coaster. So I think that that's really, really special that you said that.
I love that. I appreciate that. And that experience is definitely one that I am talking about. I get a lot of, I want to be there for my grandkids. I want to be there for my great grandkids. I want to be there for when my kids start even blossoming into their late adulthood. You
Yeah.
know, those are the most important things. Like,
I
you're
remember. Sorry, go ahead. Man, we should do a part two on this. This is so good.
yeah,
Sorry, continue. Go ahead. Go
honestly,
ahead.
we need a part two. I was just gonna say, we often get so caught up in our career because we want the lifestyle that we want for our children, right? And so we neglect a lot of what actually matters. And the only thing that matters is our health, because if we don't have our health, then we don't have the career to keep them going or to provide the life that they have or for them that we want them to have, right? They don't listen by your advice or your words. They listen by your identity.
Yeah, the
Right?
actions.
So
Yeah, okay, this is the last thing, and I'm done. I'm done. We'll have to wrap it up. But I remember I follow a lot of Disney stuff because I run a lot of like our hospitality and our client experience in our company. So I reference Disney a lot in my content, in my podcasts, because I learn a lot have you ever been, you guys live in Florida, so you've been to
yeah.
Disney World? Okay. So there's a lot of people that are making like plus size content. Like there's a family that makes plus size content for like, hey, if you're a plus size and you want to know what rides to ride, like we're going to show you the 5 rides that you can, right? Like it's a whole content and a whole page of it. And I just thought to myself, imagine this, that they said, you know what? We're turning our business motto around and we're going to transform ourselves and we're going to get healthy and we're actually going to change and we're actually going to tell you where to eat the healthy foods at Disneyland. We're going to tell you what rides you can be riding if you're healthier. And then in the next year and a half, they go through that transformation. I just thought, imagine how many more customers you could get. Imagine how many more people you would change their lives, because people don't buy into you. They buy into you because of your transformation, not because of what you're selling or like your Amazon affiliate links. They buy because of the transformation that they see in you, and you have that belief that they can do it too. Isn't that crazy? I thought of that just now, of like who they could
Stamp that.
become. Yeah,
Stamp
like
it.
the transformation is what people like. The person that can transform the fastest is the most interesting story. Like humans are obsessed with people transforming, and I just
Mhm.
think like who could they become in their business motto, and like how much more inspiring. So anyways, Prentice, we're making this about you today, not the plus size ladies. So as we begin to wrap up here, I just want to thank you so much for your time and sharing your story and being a testimony and being a follower of Jesus Christ. I think what you guys are doing is amazing, and I can't wait to watch you guys grow and see where you guys go all together as a family.
It is an honor. I highly appreciate you and your time. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being who you are.
Of course. Until next time when we shatter limiting beliefs. Thanks, Prentice.
Of course. Blessings.